Well, so yeah, Indiana Jones sounding worse and worse and worse. Well, I bet you anything, Disney's kicking themselves because Disney once owned this, didn't they? The rights to this, the Sound of Freedom.
Yeah,
they had a piece of the pie. Now, what this is, if people don't know what this is Jim Caviezel's film that had been sort of, I mean, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. It had been sat on for years and years and years. No one wanted to release it, so they managed to get it back off of whoever had the rights.
If I may,
and release it themselves.
It was completed in 2018. So this is a film that has been sitting on the shelf for 5 years. When you say no one wanted to release it, that's not strictly accurate. Disney didn't want to release it because it was originally made under Fox. Fox were the ones that got the pitch, and they said, yeah, we're going to do this. We'll throw 14 million at it because that's the budget. 14.5 million is the production budget. Then Fox was acquired. The entire entertainment division was acquired by Disney. From that point onwards, Sound of Freedom was a Disney movie. And here's like the thing. Most of the Fox movies that were in the pipeline, they eventually got released, a lot of them. Not this one. This one they buried. This is a movie that they decided that, we're just not going to release this. This is not consistent with the Disney brand. So this will just never release. It's 14.5 million. We can write that off. No problem at all. And the original filmmakers, they, in a sense, already got paid. Just remember, they made this as an independent movie, and then that independent movie was acquired by Fox, and then it never got released. But Disney, they could hire that back again. But the filmmakers, they felt that this is an important movie that needs to be seen. Disney don't want to release it, but I'm sure someone will release it. So that they then went to a number of other.
Well, it's important to say what the film's actually about for those that don't know.
If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to.
Well, it's child trafficking, essentially, isn't it? That's what the film is essentially about.
This is true, and demonetized.
And I don't want to speculate as to why Disney wouldn't want to release a movie about that. But hey.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. But I think that's important to say. And again, this is why your guys' super chats go a long way, because quite literally just saying that would.
And this movie could be a bigger powder keg than we think here, because Andre's 100% right. These guys put together, what he was about to say was they put together a campaign to get the rights back to the movie. They managed to do that. They pre-sold $10 million worth of tickets on top of it all.
Jeez. And
on opening day, they've made somewhere between estimates. I don't know if did they get the final out yet, Andre? Because originally they were saying like 14 million, but I was hearing an estimate closer to 20.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Because they were selling out theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's like the thing, that this movie technically it doesn't have to earn back what it costs to make. All of that is academic right now. What it needs to earn back to be profitable for Angel, which is the distributing company right now that acquired it from Disney. And kudos to Disney. This is one thing I will give them kudos for. They actually sold it to Angel. They didn't have to do that. If they wanted to, they could just burn every last copy of it if they so chose. But they actually decided that, okay, fine, we'll take some money for it. Now, we don't know how much money Angel had to pass over to Disney in order to get this thing. But that is the money that they have to get back again. Is that 14 million? I don't think so. I would imagine that it was less than 14 million. Case in point, Angel had to crowdfund the marketing and release. That's something that's crowdfunded. They collected $5 million to fund the theatrical release. So I don't know how much they paid Disney. No way it was as much as 14 million. I don't think that. But that is what they have to recoup. I think it's a very good chance that Angel is in a plus on this movie already.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the comical element of it is that Disney sold this. Yeah. And then this film released and then beat their own movie.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
And this Angel Company, these movies that do this, they don't even have to have this big, huge advertising budget. What they are, though, is they're plugged into the churches and all that stuff. So that's how the word gets around about these so quickly. And because a lot of people are like, oh my God, I never even heard about this movie. And all of a sudden I've heard about it nonstop for the last 2 days. Well, that's why. Because it's a little grassroots campaign, and these are the same people that would, made Jesus Revolution huge, going all the way back to like the Passion of the Christ. That's how they were able to make these movies bigger hits. And they don't need the normies, right? Like they don't even have to advertise to the normie public because there's enough word of mouth through these channels, and it gets out there. In fact, that was one of the first places I heard about it, was on some religious thing the other day. And then all of a sudden everybody starts talking about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I did not realize that this was what that movie was about until then. I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I figured out what was going on here, because that's how these things happen. They also did that with that Mark Wahlberg movie a little while back, the priest one. That one didn't do as well, but it was a decent film. I can't remember the name of it. It's Father Stu, I think it is. But like they do, and even R-rated films, they did Nefarious. That's one of the reasons Nefarious did so well.
I just watched that, man. That movie is trippy.
So this network that they use to sell these movies is working for them, and I think Andre's right. I think this is going to be a very profitable movie by the end of the end of its run, and I think by this weekend. See, that's the other thing that we didn't even point out. This movie didn't only just kick Indiana Jones's ass by 3 or 4 million or more. It did it in half the theaters, less than half the theaters.
Yeah, that's the
so I guarantee you by this weekend, Indy's going to get pulled from a bunch of theaters, because we got a couple of big movies coming out. Plus, this movie is going to take over a lot more screens, I bet.
Yeah, well, you got Mission Impossible releasing tomorrow. You've also got, it's tomorrow, isn't it? And then you've also got Insidious as well. So there's 2 big movies, and you got this one already proven that people want to go watch it. Indiana Jones is fucked.
Absolutely. That's the interesting thing. Like it might not reclaim the #1 spot ever again.
I don't think
in the US, at least.
Yeah,
no, I think Indy's dead. It's done.
Yep, done.
It'll be interesting to see what next weekend's or the second weekend box office drop.
Basically, right now, Andre, the most they can hope for is that they reach 100 million domestically faster than The Flash did. And I don't know if that's even possible. Because for those who don't know, Warner Brothers is over there going, yay, right now, because Flash finally crossed 100 million domestically.
But, what a good film to actually, this is one of those films that deserves to do well as well. Like we talk about other films to go see outside of Hollywood and things like that. This is one of those films that should be watched. Pretty tragic, pretty awful material. It's not exactly a feel-good film, clearly, but it's still one of those things that, is not talked about enough. Unfortunately, does go on, as disgusting as it is, and should have the spotlight put on it. So good on them for working diligently.
It's probably a better story than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysfunction over there.
Well, and I made a review in the background here. I don't know if he wants to even get into it or not, because I know Andre and I are trying to figure out a way how to do a video on it. But when I said this movie is going to be a bigger powder keg than we think possibly, I mean more than just the box office. I think this movie might be one of the movies that is kind of the turning point. And we'll get into it maybe at some other point more deeper. But yeah, like they're trying to treat this movie like it's a right-wing fanatic film at this point. So don't be surprised if that starts amping up some more. I mean, it might die off like Top Gun did, because they tried to do the same thing to that movie and they realized real quick that wasn't going to work. And they backed off. I think it's getting to that point. And the reason is I say we need a couple movies that kind of do stir up, some controversy like that. The kind of, especially a movie like this where you can say, how can you even be against a story like this? Like,
fundamentally. Like, what? Well, I guess that speaks volumes, doesn't it? Really,
exactly. My point. I don't know how deep you want to get into it, but exactly.
Gotta try and skirt the edges a little bit here. But
War Monkey knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's the article I just shared with him.
Yeah.